Okay, now we're going to make something that's very traditional here in Puglia. It's called, in dialect, Ciao Italia. And tria is an Arabic word for pasta. And we're going to make a pasta, and we're going to cut it into a fettuccine or a tagliatelle cut. We're going to use semolina flour, barley flour, salt, and water, okay? So the first thing you need to do is put some semolina, which is hard wheat flour, and I'm not measuring anything, but for your purposes, probably 2 cups of durum semolina to a cup of barley flour. So on a board, or you could do this in a bowl, but I know you're adventuresome today. We have the durum, hard durum wheat, and here is the barley flour. And we want some salt, so a pinch of salt. And then we mix this around just to combine it. And this is going to be an interesting dish because we're going to combine this with a chickpea sauce. And there's a little surprise at the end when we serve this dish. So now you have your combination. You make yourself a little, what do we call this? A well. This is the way every Italian nonna made pasta one time ago. And now we're only going to use water for this, because this is a pasta made with water and flour. How much water? We just don't know. Some water. So you start right here at 12 o'clock, and you start bringing in the flour from the inside, not from out here. And I always keep this one hand free so that I can catch any drips, but it isn't going to be a problem because eventually you're going to work this into a paste. So you see what's happened here. So now, Nancy, I'm going to let you have a turn. We're going to need to make this into a dough that we can, a nice ball of dough. So I may not use all of this flour. I'll know what the consistency is once I see the ball of dough. So why don't you, I did the easy part.
Thank you.
I mean, I did the hard part. I did the hard part. I prevented the wall from, are you a lefty?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So bringing in more flour as you go. And when you get this shaggy mass that you see here, then you got to dip both hands in there and start to knead that as a ball of dough. So, okay, now I think you can start. Get both hands in there. Add just enough flour to keep this ball of dough smooth and pliable, not hard. You don't want too much flour in there. That's good. Fold and roll, bring more flour in. When you think you have enough flour, push the excess flour off to the side and work with what you have. You can always reuse this flour by shaking it in a sifter, or you may need to use it when you're rolling the dough out. Okay, now I think you should use your bench knife and move the excess flour out of the way. Move the excess flour out of the way and work now on this surface. And just add enough flour to give you a nice smooth ball of dough. But do it with the palm of your hand. That's it. Do it with the palm. And then I'm going in a circle actually, around and around. I'm just folding the dough over on itself and turning it counterclockwise. And I'll know when I have enough, when it doesn't stick to my hands. And once I have that, then I'm going to put the dough aside and just knead it for about 5 minutes until it no longer feels gritty to me, so it's not grainy feeling. So, okay, now I want everybody else to take a turn. See, I'm pushing with this part of my hand, not this, the palm, and away from me. And as I do this, of course, the water absorbs the flour, and you begin to get a nice, smooth mass. So, the old trick that my grandmother taught me was that this dough needs to be so thin that you can see your hand behind it. When you can see your hand behind it, then you know that the dough is thin enough. You see that little hole? You just patch if you get a hole. So I'm going to let you have a turn. We need to get this much thinner. And you see how I'm rolling from side, and out. And that is thinning the dough down. Now you can begin to see that it is much thinner Lift it up, turn it over, and continue. And then you can cut it. Okay? So on. You can make them as wide or as thick. And the flour helps to prevent that, you see, from sticking. Now that we've made the tria, the pasta, we have to make the sauce. And we started right here, didn't we, Joan? What do we have in there?
Tomatoes, celery, onion, garlic,
Olive oil.
parsley.
And we cooked that down. That was easy, right, Joan?
Oh, yeah.
Simple. And separately, we cooked these, chickpeas. And they were like the fava beans. Remember I told you we had to soak them for a few hours or the night before in order to soften them. So now they are, and we can now add the chickpeas to our sauce. They get mixed in. And then we boil up our pasta. We put our fried tria on top, and we are ready to eat.